The show begins as Chill runs through the woods, chased by Sturgo. He catches up to her and takes the device that she was hiding, telling her that he was doing this for her. Meanwhile, Aaron and Paul were walking through a green field conversing. Paul is confiding in Arlo about his woman troubles, and Bill tells the methods he uses when he feels like he can't sleep, a problem Paul is currently struggling with. On their way, they stumble upon the dead body of Chill under a tree. They investigate the body with a special device and conclude that she's been dead for several hours. The device also tells them that she was murdered by Sturgo. After inquiring about the whereabouts of the killer from the same device, the two men start to leave but see a young woman standing just a little distance away from they were. They identify themselves as police and ask who she was, and the girl introduces herself as Sister Aces. They question her about the killing, and she explained that she didn't see the murder happen but felt the dead feel, a sensation some people feel when death is close, and came there but she was too late. Paul asks her if she's been with the dead, and she tells him that she'd lost her sister. On Earth, Indira, the envoy of I.O., gives a speech about her belief in the ability of I.O. to deliver test challenges to the problems of the world. On the ship, Bella was lounging and reading a book when Tom interrupts her. The eccentric Tom talks to Bella about a vague prediction, but Bella tells him that she thinks he's a bad fortune teller. She recalls that he said that he was muscle on the ship and asks him who he protects. Right then, Indira walks in and Tom introduces Bella as the new pilot. Indira leaves and Bella expresses her shock at being able to transport the envoy of I.O. Tom tells her not to worry because she was vetted and her military experience qualifies her. Later on, Bella was on a call with Jade, who tells her that he needs her to bring back a singer, which was the name of a drug. He tells her that all she needs to do is park and wait and the drugs will be delivered right to her. On the moon, Paul and Arlo have apprehended Stargo and are questioning him about Chill's murder. Arlo decides that Stargo is guilty and leaves, and Paul tries to comfort Stargo by telling him that he can heal himself, but Stargo hits Paul in the head and tries to escape. Back on the ship, Bella wakes Indira and Tom from their sleep. She then makes her landing on the huge man-made water body on the moon. As they leave, Indira offers Bella to come with them, but Bella refuses. Instead, she relaxes on the hood of the spaceship and waits for her delivery, which pops out of the water. She retrieves it and opens it up in the cargo area of the ship, revealing little cylinders. Outside the ship, Arlo and Paul knock at the door asking for permission to enter. They marvel at the metal on the ship, telling her that they mostly use wood, and Bella asks the officers what they needed. Paul tells her that there's been a discovery and that she was required to come to the police station. The officers take Bella toward the station on her little bicycle, and they tell her that they brought her because of the murder that occurred recently, and if whether or not she'd felt the dead feel, and she confirms that she didn't feel anything. Paul asks Bella about her mother, who was from the moon, and Bella explains that she'd never known her and that she left her when she came back there. They inform her that Chill, who was Bella's younger sister, was dead, and they tell her that it wasn't an interrogation, they just wanted to help her grieve. And in the woods, Sturgo was trying to find something that he's hidden. After finding it, he takes out a small device from a box and uses that device to extract his tracker from his spine. On the ship, Paul comes to see Bella and tells her that Chill's water sister would like to see her. Paul introduces Bella to Aces, and she tells them that there's been a third person during Chill's killing and goes to sleep after taking a pill that would make her forget all of her pain. And Paul reveals to them that he was very distressed that the I.O. wasn't able to track the third person. Bella tries to help Paul with the mystery of her sister's murder, and they visit the murder site, and suddenly, Bella sees someone running and follows them. They make it to a restricted area and Bella crosses while Paul yells for her not to. Once she passes the threshold, she realizes that she's further out of the area that was suitable for humans and into the surface of the moon. She then realizes that she can't breathe out there and passes out, looking at a little girl sitting on a tree. And this is how the first episode wraps up. Our second episode starts in the chairwoman Maite's chambers. Indira is sitting with Maite, telling her that the Icon has requested a council swap. Although Maite argues that their council has 2 more years left, Indira tells her that I.O. has recognized a pattern that could prove corruptible and therefore they must make the changes. Meanwhile, Bella wakes up at Paul's house and she joins him and his family for breakfast. Paul tells Bella that they found her barely alive under a dead tree and brought her to his house to recover. That night, Bella returns to her ship and prepares for departure, but then she hears something and she walks around the ship and she finds an intruder who turns out to be Sturgo and she tases notice him. He tells her who he was and asks her to take him with him to Earth because he felt like he'd wounded people here with his act, but Bella accuses him of murdering her sister. When she hears her name being called from upstairs, she tells Sturgo to be quiet and goes up to speak to Tom. And as they were talking, Sturgo comes out and reveals himself, and when Bella asks him why he came out, Tom shoots him in the head and tries to choke Bella. She burns his eyes and tries to escape, but he catches her and starts beating her, and she fights back and finally escapes by stabbing him in the neck with the drug that she's gotten earlier. She leaves the ship and meets Paul at the door, who tells her that she could trust him, and she passes out in his arms. Bella then wakes up in a tent that's floating on the ocean. Meanwhile, Indira is on a virtual meeting with the council, and they're all unnerved because they think someone tried to kill her guard with a stolen drug. The council thinks that the Mooners might have turned against the people on Earth, but Indira disagrees. Paul goes to visit Bella, who reacts violently upon seeing him, and after calming her down, Bella asks him why he brought her there, and he tells her that he only brought her there so she can be safe and relaxed, and when Paul asks what she witnessed, Bella explains that she got there too late after Sturgo stabbed Tom in the neck with the drugs, and that Tom was able to shoot the man. Paul tells her that this is the first time in a very long time since there have been murders in Moonhaven, and tells her to sit tight. On the surface, Indira and Maite argue about relinquishing power, and Indira mentions that the council has demanded Maite step down due to the recent unrest. But Maite refuses to step down and threatens to leak the troubles that they are facing to the people of Moonhaven. Meanwhile, Bella swims to one of the other private huts on the water and steals a boat so she can paddle her way to the surface. Arlo and Paul head to the ship to see if they can find some clues in regards to the recent crime, and Arlo asks if this crime was related to Chill's murder. Paul thinks perhaps Chill and Sturgo were planning to smuggle the drugs out together, but is confused why Sturgo would murder her. Paul and Arlo then visit Aces to question her about the relationship Chill and Sturgo had, and she tells them that they were happy and had no problems. She gives them a box and tells them that Chill left it behind for Bella, who was sure that Bella would come for it. Bella makes it to shore and starts walking through the woods, and she sees a group of lunar people engaged in what looked like a grieving ceremony. She makes her way past them but feels like she's being followed. Then after a little distance, she's encircled by the moon people, who tell her that they mean her no harm, but that she cannot run anymore. Meanwhile, Arlo and Paul are summoned by Indira, who asks them about the investigation, and Paul tells her that he thinks that Bella is telling the truth. Indira confesses her fear of what current events transpiring could mean for the first wave of transportation of the people of Moonhaven to Earth. She then explains her fear that some Earth extremists might have found a way to get an agent onto the moon. Bella is then arrested and taken to the station, and Paul accesses her memories of the war that she's been in while she was in status state, and he wakes her up and tells her that she should have remained in the tent. He reveals a memory he'd extracted from her head while she was talking to Jade about bringing back the drugs, and he tells her that she's in deep trouble now and that her fate lies with the council and the people of Moonhaven. He then gives her the box that her sister had left for her and leaves. Later, Bella is presented in front of the council to determine her fate. Bella asks to be sent back to Earth, but Paul speaks on her behalf, saying that it's his duty to help heal damaged souls like her. Then Bella makes a counter-argument telling the people that she feels no connection to the people of Moonhaven. Paul reminds the people that healing the broken Earth has always been their mission, and asks how they hope to do it if they can't even help Bella. He asks to be given responsibility for her, and the people agree with him. In private, Paul criticizes Bella for lying to him, and he tells her that he fought to keep her in Moonhaven because he wants Bella to help him face the real danger their home faces. He takes her to Chill and shows her a projection of her sister, and Bella asks her sister's projection about its memories. She asks her about the night she was killed and if she had somehow sent for her, and the projection is unresponsive to the questions. Bella then leaves after apologizing for not getting there in time. At Paul's house, Bella confesses the truth about what happened on the ship, and she tells him that during Sturgo's last moment, he looked at Tom and said, "It's done." Paul then tells Bella that there may have been an agent on the moon sent to destroy everything, and Bella asks if she can leave back to Earth once she helps them solve the problem, and Paul agrees. She opens the box her sister left her and finds a memory projection, and she and Paul play the message to hear Chill explain in a panicked voice that the transportation bridge was a trap and that they had lied to them. And this is where episode 2 wraps up. When we start our next episode, the next day, Paul goes to Arlo's house and wakes him up from his sleep. He tells him everything he found out about Bella the day before, and Arlo is convinced that Chill's recordings were nothing but nonsense. Outside of Arlo's house, Paul meets Blue, his new apprentice. Meanwhile, Bella sits at her deceased sister's house and goes through the rest of the things inside the box, and she finds another projector device, but this time it was of her late mother speaking loving words to Chill. Paul meets Bella and they start walking together in the woods while Blue follows, and Bella tells Paul that she's heard someone following her. She tells him that she doesn't want to endanger his family since Tom tried to kill her because she saw something, and she thinks that there might be others who are radicalized and are planning to put the people of Moonhaven in danger. Bella then heads to meet with Indira and sees Tom's body sleeping, trying to heal. Indira asks her why she came to the moon, and Bella tells her the truth, and she tells her that she wasn't the one trying to destroy the bridge, but there were people spreading rumors against it. Indira assures Bella that the transport ships that arrived that day would take the first wave of passengers from the moon to Earth, and Bella tells her that Tom tried to kill her on the ship, but Indira doesn't believe her. Bella finds the ship that transported her to the moon and sneaks her way inside, and she looks around and tries to find any clues. Later, she meets Paul, who was unhappy to find out that Bella had gone to the ship. Then she gives him the small vessel that used to house the drugs that she was supposed to smuggle and shows it to him. She tells him the drugs were delivered to her by a fake canary that dissolved in the water. Paul takes Bella to a craft shop where they build different types of birds like the one she saw. As they look around, she recognizes a design being made by one of the workers, and Cyril, the man crafting the designs, gets up and starts running while Bella follows him into the forest. She chases him for a bit, she loses him but sees something that looks like a mirror. Inside, she sees an image of her pregnant mother that immediately disappears, and Bella starts hearing a child cry and follows the sound to where she sees herself abandoned on the ground. Paul catches up to her and explains that the place was a mirror well, which is a place that reflects deeper parts of yourself. They finally catch Cyril in front of the mirror well and start questioning him, and he tells them that he wasn't the one sending the drugs, but Bella doesn't believe him. She tells Cyril that she thinks that he's part of a fraction that's trying to destroy Earth, then Cyril just leaves after disagreeing with Bella's claims. Bella and Paul go to speak to Maite, and they ask about the drug called the Singer, which is apparently made there. Maite gets confused by their question because no drug has ever been stolen before. Maite then tells Bella that she's sure that no Moonhaven resident would ever steal the drugs, and while Maite speaks, Bella notices one of the workers acting very strangely. Outside, Paul and Bella have an argument about some of the other residents' intentions when it comes to Earth. Then Paul explains that saving Earth is their purpose and that no Mooner would abandon it and storms off. Meanwhile, Maite and Indira get ready to give permission to the shuttles hovering over the orbit to land. While Indira gives permission, Maite forbids the spacecraft from landing, and Indira informs the council of what happened, and they're livid knowing that Earth will know something is wrong if the shuttles don't arrive in time. Paul and Bella meet Blue in the woods after he's attacked, and he tells them that he was following Cyril, but he saw him and attacked him. Blue defended himself and killed the man, and they find the cave where Cyril hides his equipment and discover dozens of chips removed from people. And as the third episode wraps up, fearing for Arlo's life who was protecting Tom, they head to where the man was healing with backup. And that's our recap for today. If you guys want me to recap more episodes for you guys, please leave me a comment and I will definitely get right on it.